What is up, guys and gals? My name is Mistermoose, and today we're back in the garage with a little more Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. So I'm just kind of looking around the garage. I got this little bug of curiosity going on. I'm sitting here having my morning cup of joe, playing a little Car Mechanic Simulator, and I started thinking to myself, where's my coffee cup in here? Yeah, I know that if I was in here working, like, there'd be a coffee cup right here by the phone, you know? Oh, wait a minute. Is that it? Styrofoam, really? No, I don't think so. I don't drink out of styrofoam. Where's my coffee cup at? I did find the coffee pod over here. Model right there on the desk. That was good news. But yeah. Oh, there's another coffee cup. And we run a sloppy operation here too. There's like a flattened out Coke can here and papers all over the floor. I need to hire somebody to clean this place up. It's a mess. It's a wreck, I'm telling you. Anyways, what's going on? Y'all doing all right? So yesterday we began the restoration on this guy here, the Ford Raptor. Or at least that's what we have decided this truck is. It is affectionately known as the Castor Earthquake Rex in the game, which, I guess the Rex is the play on, T-Rex or whatever, and Raptor. Or maybe Rex is supposed to stand for something. I don't know what it's supposed to stand for. But anyways, yeah, so that's what we worked on yesterday. We did the suspension on it, got all that done. Suspension, fuel tank, power steering booster, ABS, battery, air intake, all that good stuff. Really, all that's left today is the engine, the exhaust, and doing the body work and interior. So, yeah, that list is getting longer and longer by the minute. Lots to do today. So, anyways, let's get going. This will be the first time that we've worked on this particular engine, which is the dual overhead cam V8. Yeah, so it's got a throttle body on it. Yeah, it'll be pretty fun. I mean, we've done a little bit of this in the in the live streams when I was leveling up, but I don't think we've done anything with it in a recorded video. So, as I said yesterday, I was like, shocking that the first time we deal with it would be with a pickup truck. But yeah. All right, so let's get all these rollers off the front. There's so many rollers to deal with. That's the one thing I hate about this motor is all the rollers. Oops. And the camera pull it in and out for each roller and all that other stuff, which I know I can disable that in the features. But as I've said before, I like to have the in and out on the camera when I'm working on the suspension. Not so much when I'm working on the engine, though. I guess I'd go ahead and take off the power steering pump and the alternator. I find it interesting on all of these motors, too, that nowhere do they model the air conditioning compressor. No air conditioning compressor, no pollution control system. None of that stuff is modeled. Which that changes the front of the motor and how, your pulleys and everything are on it. Come on, get it together, boys. Your smog pump. All that stuff. Go ahead and take the fuel rail off. Fuel rail DI. Let's just go to this side. Take that off. Get our ignition coils out. So I think tomorrow we're going to be kind of in a truck mood for the next couple of days. So if you're not a truck guy or gal, you might not like the builds for the next couple of days. My plan is to do the Castor today, finish it up, and then tomorrow probably do the Bronco that is in the mods online. And then after that, there's a H2 Hummer I'd like to do, or H1 that I'd like to do. So that's probably the direction I'm headed. So it's sort of an off-road type week with trucks. So that kind of reoccurring theme today or this week. Ooh, it's early in the morning. I've only had half a cup of coffee, so I may stumble and fumble and bumble through some of this stuff. But yeah, I think that's going to be the theme for this week is going to be trucks. As I've seen the Bronco sitting in there for God. It's been in there for a while now, and I've wanted to do it, but I've held off on it because I don't want to do I don't want to turn this series into nothing but mods, right? Because eventually you'll run out of mods to do anyways because there's not that many of them. But I don't want it to just be a, hey, here's another mod, here's another mod, here's another mod. I want to showcase off some of the cars that are in the game as well as some of the mods and the DLCs and all that other stuff. So, you know, we may go back and do, you know, an RX-3 or do a, you know, do the Dodge Charger after a little while. But so I want to mix and match it. I don't want it to be all mods all the time. Which some of y'all may disagree with that, and that might be what you want. But, you know, just for my sanity and everything, I want to mix it up a little bit. So, have a little bit of balance. All right, so let's go ahead and get these rod caps off. It'll be interesting to see how much of this engine we can repair up. How much we can get out of here without having to buy parts for it. There's some consumables we'll have to buy. All of this stuff will be replaced. All the rod, well, you know, well, the rod caps will salvage. I mean, technically, we would keep the connecting arms and the rod caps. We just have the, well, in this case, to be honest with you, such low mileage and everything, I probably would replace the rings, polish the cylinders, replace all of the bearings. Maybe have it, you know, and have the crankshaft, you know, polished, cleaned up. If I was going to clean this engine up like this, if I was taking the engine apart like this and restoring it, as low mileage as this is, I would, you know, probably just have everything cleaned up. So turn the crankshaft a little bit and have it, you know, polished up. Make sure there were no burrs or, you know, any scuffs on the crankshaft. Put new bearings in. Put new rings on the pistons as long as the pistons were in good shape. Didn't see any kind of fatigue or anything else like that on them. But even if you were doing a rebuild, you wouldn't ditch your connecting arms. You just replace the pistons on them. I think I heard like one thing mess up. So we're probably in pretty good shape with everything. Let's start at the top. Let me make sure we got all the parts too. So we need one belt tensioner for sure, 4 cam gears. And those are just generic cam gears. As far as the camshafts, we need one camshaft for a V8. Both coil covers are good, crankshaft's good, the bearing caps are good. Need a pulley for a V8. Engine and the heads are good, the valve covers are good. See, I said valve cover instead of head cover for you guys. Some people have been getting on me about saying head covers, but again, it goes back to that whole thing of I'm older and my lifespan, I've heard it referred to as various things. I've heard it called head covers. I've heard it called valve covers. You know, so if I say it one way and if you find it offensive, just keep in mind that I've lived all over the country in the States and I've heard it different ways. So it just is what it is. So exhaust manifolds are good. Fuel rails are good. I think we need 2 A's and 5 B's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. And ignition coils we need. Intake manifolds good. Oil pans good. Rings and pistons we're replacing. All the rod caps are good. Serpentine belt A and B for V8. Plugs. Yep. 2 timing belts. So really the only piece that we didn't repair that we should have repaired was that one camshaft. Everything else is in good shape. It's excellent. So all that we have is a lot of consumables that we got to buy. Now watch me mess this up and not get it right, because I don't know the consumables that well for this motor. Anyway, so we're going into engine mode on this. So we don't need an alternator. We don't need any of that. I do need a brake tensioner. And I need 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And then I needed one camshaft for the V8. And there we go. None of that stuff. None of that stuff. None of that stuff. Gonna need that. None of that stuff. Fuel filter. I'm thinking we need a fuel filter. Pretty sure we need a fuel filter. Fuel rail was good on both sides of it, so we need 2 of these guys and 5 of these guys. 8 of these. The fact that we only need a few parts is good, because this is probably going to cost us a bunch on some of these parts. I didn't see the throttle or the intake manifold. I didn't really pay attention to those. Hopefully those are good. Oil filter we need for sure. Gonna need 8 of these. And another 8 of those. Them thingies. We don't need any of that. We don't need any of that. We don't need any of that. We do need this. Serpentine belt A for the V8. Need that. And then that one. 8 of these. There we go. What else do we need? I think at this point, timing belt times 2, right? I think that's the one we need right there, right? No, it's that one. 2 of these. They look very similar, but yeah. Timing chain cover we don't need. Don't need that. We do need 1 of these. All right. Well, it's time for the moment of truth. Let's put it back together. See what we have. Actually, let's not. Let's take this off real quick, since we forgot to take it off. I don't like the way that pulls out with the engine, though, because that wouldn't be something that was mounted on the engine. That would be something that's either, in line, or it's mounted on the firewall. It wouldn't be something that hangs on the side of the engine. Well, that would be a terrible fire hazard. All right, crankshaft goes in, and then we'll go ahead and put our bearing caps in. Yeah, we were talking yesterday about the desire to have like an engine DLC. Like, where is the 4-bolt main? If you've never, if you've always heard the terminology and don't know what it is, 4-bolt main means the bearing caps here have 4 bolts on them versus just 2 bolts on them. And, they're high performance engines. And, yeah. Where's 4-bolt main? Come on. That's what I'm talking about. If you did a DLC with classic engines and they were detailed and stuff like that, so they were different from all of these generic engines that are in the game, I think a lot of people would go for that. I think that would be a cool DLC, and like I said, to me, much cooler to be able to do that than another car. But again, you'd have to have the feature added into the game where you could swap motors out of cars. So I could go in there and I could, you know, have a crate motor that I come over here, I build it ahead of time, and then I go find the car that I'm going to go put it in. And, you know, I've got it sitting here as a crate motor. Or another thing that would be cool in the game is if you built motors. Like if you could build motors and sell them off. That'd be kind of cool. We had a pretty good discussion, Casket, EVR, myself, Mobius, because we all play the game, right? We were sitting talking about it the other day about some of the improvements they could make. And one of the biggest ones I think they could make to the game to make it that much better is in the area of the barns and the barn finds. Because we've talked about before, I did a video on the barn finds and how there's a limited number of them, right? They're not dynamically spawned into the game. I think that's one of the biggest changes they need to make to the game. Is the barn finds need to be dynamic so that if you want longevity in gameplay, if you want people to continue to play the game and stay interested in it so that when you do put DLCs out, people are more apt to buy them, because if they've lost interest in the game, their chances are they're not going to buy the DLC unless they're just hardcore auto fans and you put a car out that they really want to do. But if you've lost the interest of your core audience, then it's going to be harder for you to, you know, get people to buy your DLC. So for me, that's where they sort of missed the ball. Is they should have put it in to where that barn find system was dynamic. And I think a lot of people thought it was that way in the beginning. I sure did. And I blew through a ton of barns in the beginning thinking that it was dynamic, you know, as far as the generation of them, because it was like, well, I'll take it off the map and a new one will appear whenever, you know. I thought they were just randomly generated. And so to my surprise, when I figured out they weren't, because of I cleaned off the map and I didn't have any for the longest amount of time. So, you know, you could do something similar to the phone system in that they could be dynamically generated so that there's always new barn finds popping up. And then you just periodically have to check and see what they are. I think that would be a much better way to do things in the game. And I think it would add more longevity to the game because people could always be looking for it. And I think you could take it a step further. You could have it, not only you can have it like the phone, right? So the phone, if you go to it and look, everything's time-based, right? So it puts these jobs up here, and you've got a certain amount of time that job is listed, and then it goes off and new jobs generate. So, which is nice, because if all of these jobs suck and you don't want to do them, you know, if they were all, you know, engine, suspension, and oil, and you didn't want to do those, you just want to grind through some transmission gigs or some break-in transmission gigs. That's what you want to do in order to get it. See how that one just popped on the screen. These are dynamically generated. They run for a certain amount of time, like 5 minutes, and then they pop off the screen. And then new ones come up. If they had done that with the barn finds, I think that would have been much cooler. Or, you know, even more cooler is if it was sort of like a bulletin board system or an online type of deal where you went online and you looked at it online to find it. To me, that would make a lot more sense too, because it would be sort of like buying this week's copy of Auto Trader and sitting down with it and looking at, you know, what's listed there, who's got cars listed, and you thumb through it and suddenly you find this guy's got like a, you know, an old Plymouth that he's got in his garage, and you go look at it, and then, oh, by the way, while you were there, you found this gem of a car that he really wasn't thinking about selling, but after you haggle with him a little bit on it, you get it and the other car for a steal, you know. That would be much cooler. And then it also, if it was an online tie-in to where, you know, like you go onto your computer and you're looking at online, not only could it be dynamically generated, but it could also be a multiplayer, not multiplayer, but a an online thing where everybody's tied into the same central database. And if I go on there and I look and I see that there's, for instance, a vet that's on there that I'm interested in, I could click on the button. It could say, "Oh, I'm sorry, this barn is no longer available because you may have gone and clicked on that same one about 5 minutes ahead of me, and you decided you would go to the barn and buy that vet, and oh, you missed out on it because you didn't check often enough." I mean, it's stuff like that that would make the game just that much better. Make it a bit more interactive, you know. The ability to trade cars would be cool too, you know. The ability to actually sell cars and trade cars. If you, for instance, go into a barn and you found, somebody was telling me the other day, I don't know if it was somebody in chat, in a post, or if it was somebody that I was talking to, had found a Challenger that only had like 60,000 miles on it, which is, that would be like a holy grail, wouldn't it? A 1970s Challenger with only 60,000 miles on it. Oh my gosh, it would be, you know, the only thing better would be like low, you know, serial number on it. So it was like, you know, and the engine had matching numbers and everything else like that. You'd just be like, ah, ah. But yeah, I mean, if we had the ability to trade cars, so if I found a car like that and bought it out of a barn find for a little bit of money, and then I could list it in a trader, you know, on a trading board, then, you know, because maybe it's not my cup of tea. Maybe it's not the car, because, you know, how many of us go to these barn finds and we see the cars that are in there and none of them interest us? You know, especially if I go in there and I find a Pinto. I'm really not interested in building a Pinto. But if I went in and I found a Pinto that had like ridiculously low mileage on it, I might pick it up and list it on the trade board under the, you know, heading of extremely low mile rare find. And one of you guys might be interested in it. And then you could pay me a little bit more for it than I got out of the barn find, and, you know, and that would be cool. That part of the game I think would be cool. Add in some really rare cars into the game that they just don't spawn very often. That would be cool. And then they, like, so that way if you did find that one of them, you could take it and, you know, either fix it up and sell it, or you could take it and trade it. There's so much more they can do with the game to make it interactive without having to put multiplayer into it. I keep seeing people say, "Oh, it needs to be multiplayer." I don't really see that. I mean, I guess you and your buddy could do a restoration. You could do the brakes while he does something else. But if you wanted it more interactive, I could definitely see going that route with it. All right. So it looks like I've got everything on the motor now. I put the oil pump on, or the oil filter on, so I can go ahead and put oil in it. But first, let's go ahead and put the transmission and everything in. I don't like putting fluids until everything is buttoned up. All right, so start back here, I guess. Pull some muffler and exhaust pipe stuff. Get all of that off. I don't know. Maybe somebody will watch this and go, "Ooh, that sounds like a decent idea." I think it's a pretty cool idea. All right, so let's go by arrival now so I can see what I just pulled off. Rear muffler V8, gotcha. 2 exhaust pipes, gotcha. 2 middle mufflers, 2 catalytic converters. Catalytic, however you say it. Front exhaust pipe B V8. That's the point where I'll mess up. Front exhaust pipe B V8, not front exhaust pipe V8B. Which I've run into that situation in the game. All right, front exhaust pipe B V8. Let's go by them. I've already forgotten what it was. All right, front exhaust pipe. See, there's front exhaust pipe V8B. That's not what I need, right? I need front exhaust pipe B V8. There, that one, right? I'm so confused now. I think this is it. I'm pretty sure this is it. See, I messed my own self up thinking about it. Silly me. All right, so middle muffler is next. Get 2 of those. And then we need 2 of these, right? Now I'm second guessing myself because this thing's an Evanor. And the B is an Evanor, whereas this one isn't. It's a, you know, Schulzari or whatever. Could have just messed up. Only time will tell. Pressure plate. I don't understand why you can't repair the pressure plates either. I mean, because that's a part that is commonly repaired and fixed. Because you build the pressure plate for, you know, whatever stiffness you want. I don't understand why you can't repair that. The throwout bearing, that's a wear item. I could see that. The flywheel, I can somewhat understand the flywheel, though I don't. Most flywheels, like I said, most flywheels you can clean up and they typically don't wear out unless you break teeth on them or they get warped for some reason. But for the most part, they don't wear out. I don't know. Usually if you're replacing a flywheel, it's typically because you've broke a tooth on it. Most common reason for replacing a flywheel, I would say. All right, so we get our gearbox on here, mount it up. Go ahead and throw the starter into place. And then we'll put the transfer case on. I find it interesting, the front drive shaft on here just kind of hangs there. There's no bolts at all to put it into place. All right, put that in there, and then we start throwing the exhaust pipes in. I got the right one. Y'all are probably like, moron, it's really not that hard to get that exhaust pipe. Hey, for my brain to be functioning this early in the morning and with only a half a cup of coffee, that's a challenge. I'm old. What can I say? I know I act like I'm a young kid, but I'm old. I'm old, Sonny. I've been around the block a few times. All right. Anything else that we have forgotten? So, truth in advertising. I forgot to put this in yesterday. After I finished recording the video, I went to clean my inventory out and I found the plate and the 2 U-bolts sitting in my inventory. I was like, oh, dadgummit. I got sidetracked and forgot to put them in there. But yeah, they're in there. So I would rather find it that way than in the recording today. Get ready to try to pull out of here and get the whole thing that says, hey, by the way, you haven't put the U-bolts in there on the leaf springs. And then I'd be like, oh, foiled again. Sort of like not putting the interior in the other day. I guarantee you one thing, I'm not buying the interior before we go, you know, to that point. Those days are over. All right, let's look at where we're at with this thing. Global parts condition is 100%. That brings the value of the car up to 157,284 simoleons. So we're doing pretty good with it. Now we're up to that point where we do the body. So let's move the welder over. And we'll move the interior kit over. We're going to do pretty good with this. Somebody sent me an email, said they bought one of these for $90K in the auction house, and they ended up selling it for 150 something. We're going to do better than that because this truck is in such low mileage. So yeah. All right, so pull the bumper off of it, pull the lights off, fender off, pull all these doors off. And all the lights, all the glass is going to come out. I didn't realize this had rear fenders. I guess I should have when I'd already taken this side off. Man, sometimes I just don't pay any attention. I'm sort of just going through the motions on some of this stuff. All right, so that is done. Now we can hit the welder on it. Ching. Yes. All right. Wonder how much it changed the price of the car just with the fact that we took the all the body panels off of it. Yeah, it took it down a lot. 145,000 now. Oh, the frame's in good shape now. To the repair bench. Hopefully we can repair all these body panels up and we don't have to pay any money on them. Oh, something broke. We had one something broke. What was it? What didn't repair? It looks like everything repaired. All right, so back into installation mode. Mirror back on. Yep, that's good. And that's good. Good. Bumper's good. Tailgate's good. We'll improve the price of this truck just by changing the color on it from, you know, baby puke green to something a little more attractive. I think I ought to get a like $10,000 bonus just for changing the color. All right, so the front fender, that was what made the noise. What made the between compute. Now, I should have that part. I believe I have it. Let's go over here to the warehouse we hate so much. I'm just kidding about that. I hate the have to wait for all the parts to be indexed. And we'll do a search for Rex. And it was the right front fender, right? Uh-huh. I told you I thought I had one. It's good to pick the junkyard. Good to pick the junkyard. Put that on there. What color is it? It's, yeah, gray. Alright, so at this point we just need all the glass. Yeah, we'll get all the glass and we'll be good. We can put it on there. Super sweet. Alright, so we're done with the automobile parts. Body spot time. Resist the urge to do the interior there, Moose. Alright, so we'll search for Rex. And I'm just going to buy one of all the glass. I wish you could find more of this in good condition in the junkyard. Like every time I bust a tail light, that's where I go buy them. I go to the local used parts guy, who basically is a junkyard. It's a little more organized here than your typical junkyard where you would just go out there and try to find the parts on a car. They pretty much, they bring their cars in and they strip all the useful stuff off of them. And then they actually bag and tag everything and put it into an inventory system so that when you come in looking for a part, they can look it up on a computer and go, oh, you need a mirror for a thing? I've got one. It's yellow in color. Or you know, if you need, you know, let's say you needed this headlight assembly. There we go. Yeah, we got that. I got two of them or whatever. One's got a couple of scratches on it, you know. Other one looks pristine. But they do a really good job with parts. And then, of course, we got pull-apart places where you can just, you know, take your toolbox and go pull stuff off of cars there as well. You get a little bit more, you know, a little bit better deal at the pull-apart place. $191,778 with all that done. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and move this thing over to the spray booth. Come on now. I hate that part of this. This menu system sucks so bad. But it's console friendly. Alright. What color? Let's look at the liveries on this thing. Earthquake 1 camouflage. I don't know that I like that. And then that, I have no idea what that is. What hideous color is that? And is that affected by changing the base color? If we go to black, what does that look like? It looks pretty disgusting, to be honest with you. Okay, let's go to none. And let's go. Ooh, black actually looks pretty good on that. Now see, this is where it just needs like a cool pinstripe or something. You know, black truck pinstripe. Ooh, you know what? Might look good. It's just matte black. If it had a chromed out grill, maybe. I don't know. Pearl doesn't look too bad. Or white. I know white's sort of boring, but... Alright, so I was going to look for a green here, like a... Let's get that green going. Pull the saturation. Actually, let's pull the brightness down to try and get like a deep green. It's too bright. That works right there. Now, if we throw that stupid livery on there, the camouflage livery, it still looks dumb. I just was curious to see if it looked, yeah, it would look good at all. What color to do on this? Oh. I could make it match my farm sim truck. Even though it's a Ford. Yeah, we could go with the old farm sim red. With the brown interior, wouldn't be too bad of a color, actually. Put it in the lights and let's see. Yeah, if you haven't figured it out, I have a thing about red. I sort of like my red colors. Alright, so interior disassembly. Front seat. Seat 6 leather B. And bench earthquake leather 1. And steering wheel 6. Alright, so to the custom shop. Alright, so seat 6. Leather B. The light leather? Or, ooh. See, I know I was thinking about going with the brown, but that might... We do black and gray a lot, though. We don't actually ever do any sort of neutrals or anything, so... Yeah. Why did I buy 4 of them? I guess I'm going for bucket seats in the rear end in my mind or something. Oh my. Brain function today. How about it? There's wheel 6 and then Rex. And that'll give us our rear bench. Yeah, so I got a couple of seats I got to resell. Alright, so put that in there. Put that in there. Who knows? Maybe I'll buy another one of these and fix it up. And that goes in there. Interior done. Check. Last point. License plates. Alright, so we got to do license plates. So let's go plates. And just for giggles, I'm going to go with Oklahoma. Oh, come on. You need more letters. There we go. And oh, we'll do Oklahoma times 2. Wait a minute. Was there another one? Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And we'll put that on there. Yeah, I can't put get you some, but I'll just put get some on there. So subtle reference. All right, there we go. The Ford Raptor. Make sure we got everything 100%. 100, 100, 100, 100. $216,969. Pretty good. So our initial value that we put into it was $104,000. And most all of the parts repaired up. It was just basically consumables that we had to put into it. So our parts is way low on this. Less than 10 grand for sure. So that's going to be a mighty profitable sell for us. Anyways, as always, we have to take it for a little test ride. So let's throw her out here onto the track, see how she looks in the light. I hate how everything gets washed out a little bit when it goes into the track. They certainly don't have their light levels right across the board in the game, especially in the paint shop. As somebody said in the comments a couple of days ago, all the lighting in the paint shop should be neutral. Even though it's bright, it should be neutral. And that way you can get a proper vision of what the paint's going to look like when you get it out of there. And the way it is, you can't really tell how the paint looks. You know, other than being in there. The other thing, you know what the game's missing too? You got off-roads, especially since we're going with a Jeep and everything. We're getting ready to have a Jeep DLC. The game needs an off-road track. Or it needs, you know, something that you could do the four-wheel drive on. So, I mean, this thing's not going to have a whole lot of power to it as far as speed. It'll sound pretty good. Well, yeah, would you rather take this somewhere and go mudding with it instead of running around an airport track here? Trying to drift it. Here we go. That was pretty decent. That was a decent handbrake turn. So we can get into the warehouse here. Come on. All right, anyways. So that'd be our truck today. All right, if you enjoyed the build, make sure you smack that like button for me. Leave a comment down below. Share it with your friends. That helps me out tremendously. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So I mentioned we're going to do a giveaway this week. We're at 39,000 subscribers on the channel. Thank you guys for all your support. Thanks to all the new folks who have come along. So when we hit 40K, we're going to do just a big week-long full of giveaways. I'm going to give away a bunch of copies of the game as well as DLCs to hype it up for the 40K. So stick around. It'll be just, you know, it looks like just a couple of more days from now. By the end of the week, we may be looking at 40K, and I'll be doing at that point just nothing but giveaways all the time, and trying to spread the love and just say thank you to you guys for all your support. So get ready for it. So giveaways are coming this week, and yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Tomorrow, if everything goes right, we'll start with the Bronco build. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys and gals. Have yourself a wonderful day. I will see you later. Oh, you can't even lay a peel with this thing. Oh, how terrible. I'm selling it. I bet a Chevy would lay a peel.